Alice Maude Bain will be 93 on August the 4th of this year. She not only has led an active, productive life in the past, but she's still a very busy lady in the present. She has given a great deal of time and effort caring for children and adults, and those who remember her many kindnesses still affectionately call her Ma. So I'm happy to introduce Mrs. Bain to you today, and now I'll let her take center stage.
Well, I was born in Colebrook, Kings County, up in the Annapolis Valley, and I lived there most of my young life. And then from there, my father was a sash and door maker. And when there was a big building boom in a certain place, he would move to wherever it was. So we moved also.
You were a gypsy.
Like the gypsies, yes. And we moved to Windsor, Hants County. And we were there a long time because a big Windsor fire years ago wiped the whole town out. And there was a lot of building going on. So we were there for a long while. I started school in Windsor.
I was going to ask you about your school days. What was school like in those days?
It went to a country school, and there was from 1 to grade 8, and one teacher. Well, then after we were through grade 8, we'd go up to Wolfer or Temple, either one, to the high school. But I only went up to the grade 8.
Was your teacher very strict when you were little?
Well, of course she had to be. There were so many, but we always had very good teachers. Never a man teacher. We always had a woman teacher, and they were very good to us.
What sort of equipment did you have in school? Did you use a slate?
We had a slate. Some of them had a slate, and it had a frame on it, and then we had the slate pencils that you write with. Oh, they're about, I would say, about 6 inches, and you had to keep them kind of sharp and write on the slate.
They weren't made of chalk, though. They were.
Oh no, they were sort of a slate you get. I don't know where they get the slate, but it was long pencils. We used to buy them in a bunch, 5 or 6 in a bunch, and you write in there, and then you had a little round dish with a sponge in to wipe your slate clean when you were through. We used to go out in the schoolyard and we play hopscotch, same as they play now. I bet you played.
Yeah.
And we play a ball, not the organized ball or anything like that, you know. And we had little swings made swings. Pretty near the same.
Did you have very far to go to school?
Oh, well, we had to go. We had to take our lunch. The first school I went to. I imagine, I suppose we could have come together, but it was quite a long walk. Always walk. There was no school buses.
No.
And when it rained, you were lucky if one of the neighbors might come along with a big express wagon and fill it up and take it, but not very often. I think we had just as nice a young life as they have today, more carefree, you know.
I guess you remember the horse and buggy.
Oh, horse and buggy days. Oh, yes, I had boyfriends that had horse and buggy. You'd go driving, you know, down there. But my father and mother were very strict up until we were kind of on our own. And they used to say, well, now, where are you going? Who are you going with? And you got to be in at a certain time.
I think that's the proper thing, don't you?
Oh, well, I do, too. We used to have what we call the Sons of Temperance. You had to be 12 years old. They still have it, I think. That we'd go once a week. And they used to have pie socials, and the boys would bid on the pies, and If you got your favorite boy, okay. If you didn't, you had to eat with him, whoever you got.
You were stuck with them.
And then they used to have another, a box social. That was fun. There'd be all kinds of things in, you know.
A real lunch.
Oh, yeah, we didn't have what you call a double life.
Was music a part of your life at all? Did you go to any of the dances? And what sort of music did you have?
No, I don't know how to dance, although I'd love to know how to dance. But my people were strict on the dancing. But we used to go to parties, you know, once in a while, things like that.
What was your background, Scottish or English? Or?
Well, my father is Scotch, and my mother was her people were Irish. So I got a kind of a queer mixture.
That's quite a volatile mixture, I think.
Yeah. I went out early and learned the millinery trade. We used to have to make the hats then, you know, wire frames and solder braid on. I was only young when I went into that. I had my apprenticeship in that. And
did you think of a career in those days?
No. The only thing you were always thinking about, you had to get married and get settled down and have a family and so on.
You have a very pretty hat on today. Did you make many hats when you were young?
Oh, yes, we used to make them right straight out from I worked at Kirk and Torres in Sydney. It's where Barnell's is now.
Yeah.
Up until I was married. And we used to have a work group. And a lot of the girls learned the millinery trade there. And we used to make the hats. I had a pair of pliers and we'd have a hat in front of us, like that. And then we had to make the frame like that as much as possible. And I also learned dressmaking too. So I didn't have time to carry on very much, I guess. If you were smart, you'd get something to do that you, if you didn't get married, you'd have something to do.
Were you smart? Of course, you were smart with the hat, obviously.
I'm got 2 quilts on the way. I got to get them finished because I don't think anybody know how to do them after if I put them out.
You said your parents were quite strict and your teacher had to be pretty strict. Were you ever naughty?
Oh, once in a while, not very often. I couldn't get away very much. I think my mother had double sight or something. She said, Alice, I might have went away different times with the girls and run away, you know, and where were you? Then that was worse than if I had gone asked if I could go. So.
You had to account for your actions in those days.
In those days, Christmas Eve, if you were, instead of mailing parcels like you did, they used to dress up and go from door to door with parcels. If I had a parcel for you, I'd be all dressed up and leave it at your door. If you could guess who I was, all right, and if you couldn't. And we used to go around like that.
That's an unusual custom.
Yeah. Well, they use that a lot up the valley. I read something in a paper not long ago, last year, where a crowd of young people, their sleigh upset, where they had been out Santa Claus, as they called it. So there's a few people that still use it.
That's a nice idea.
Yeah. You didn't go to work so much, you know. The house in the evening, it'd be everybody be home. Like, you'd have to have like the roll calls. Everybody in now, I'm going to bed.
How many were in your family when you were growing up?
I had 4 brothers and 3 sisters.
Big family.
As far as I know, I'm the only living one. I have a sister out in Edmonton, in the home of the Good Shepherd out there, and it's a wonderful place out there. Now, I haven't heard from her for a long time, for about 6 months. So Whether she's not able to write or not, I don't know. But I've tried to contact her to find out. So that's about all. I'd be the only one I know of.
Did you have certain chores you had to do when you were a little girl?
Oh, yes. And I didn't like washing dishes, and that was the most I got.
What would that involve? Wouldn't be quite the way it is now.
No. I had to wash the dishes, and I didn't like that. And they had to be done good and clean. But you had to go to the well and draw the water, and you didn't turn on the hot water tap like you do today.
No.
Well, they were good days, though. You know, pretty even. I don't think our parents worried as much as the usual parents today. When the youngsters go out, you don't know where they are.
They usually knew where you were.
I was married in Sydney, and I had a good home, Sydney. I had a good family.
How many children?
I have to count it. 5 boys and 1 girl.
When you were younger, do you have any particular memory of some of the older people?
Oh, yes. Well, how to keep house, how to make bread. I made bread when I had to stand on the stool to reach the table. And my mother was a wonderful cook. And I had to make bread and a lot of little things like that. And get the vegetables ready and so on.
Mm-hmm.
I was the oldest, so I had to be, Alice, come here, Alice, come here. I said, I wish you'd change my name. So I had my day.
Do you remember any other stories that the old people might tell? Or was storytelling a tradition among those people?
No, not very much. No. And they'd all go to a certain church, whatever church they belonged to, in their horse and buggies, and went in and out and shaking hands and so on. So
most of the older traditions held that you didn't do too much work on Sunday.
Never. Oh, no. Everything was done. The shoes were all shined. Clothes were all laid out. You never done any work. Only just to eat your dish and get something to eat. And the dinner would be something that wouldn't need to have very much trouble. Oh, no, you weren't allowed to work on Sunday. You could go for a walk, a little walk. If you had a boyfriend, why, that was all right. If you didn't, you could get a girl and go for a little walk. But no, you never. They done what the commandments said. Remember the Sabbath day.
Keep it holy.
Yeah. That's what they I had that drilled in me so much, I think it was the first thing I ever knew. Oh, my.
You still obey it?
Well, yes. I don't have much to do anyway. But when you have a family, you have a certain amount. They don't say that you can't look after your family.
Certainly not.
Yeah. I haven't been to church for quite a long time, but I guess I better go. You know, they used to go in, and then you could sing a hymn, and you sit down, and you sort of relax. And now, it's up and down and up and down. So I haven't been there for quite a long while. So I better start in.
It's a little more tiring than it used to be.
Yes.
Do you remember anyone telling you very much about the early days of your people, the pioneering days?
Well, I know it would be my great-grandfather. He built his own cabin. He went in the woods and got the old logs, and he had a sawmill and made their cabin, you know. But they were nice. They were all smooth on the outside. I never saw them, but my dad used to tell us. Up in New Brunswick, they done an awful lot of them. They say in parts of New Brunswick, you can still find some of those old cabins.
The old log cabins. They built them sturdy, didn't they?
Yeah. I have my father's old, belongs to the family, an old Bible that's almost 200 years old.
Now that's a real souvenir.
Yeah, Some of the pages are gone, but an old aunt of mine took it and fixed it. So it was handed down to me as I was the oldest grandchild.
You must be very proud of that.
Yeah. And I have my grandmother's, or my mother's side Bible, that my sister used to have when she passed away and sent it to me. So I'm well surprised.
You certainly have some of the history there, haven't you?
But the old Bible is, they were shown by old Bibles in the one of the churches in Sydney. When was that? A couple of years ago.
And then all the births and deaths and so on in the...
Everything.
And the christening.
All the old ones who died, when they died, and how long. But they're all gone years and years ago. You know, I worked at the YMCA with the men all the time. And that's where I worked there from the time it opened until I retired. Once in a while, their wives, they had a night that the women could come, and they'd come to the door and say, "Ma, is my husband in there?" I said, "No, I only feed them in here. That's all." And by the way, I'm going over to something's going on very soon in a while.
You're very busy still, aren't you?
Well, I know them all, although there's a new crowd now, you know, what I have.
I understand that you are the only woman honorary wiseman.
Yes, so I am.
How did that happen?
Well, it was a vote from Newfoundland right straight through. And I haven't got my pin on it. Oh, my. And I was voted the only woman in altogether. But there is a woman in the United States now.
So you're the only Canadian honorary wife.
I'm the oldest woman in the YMCA.
Was this in recognition of work that you had done for them?
Oh, yes, what did I have here now? I got this here.
Ah, we have some documents here.
There's something.
May I join with you all in paying tribute to your devoted and esteemed good friend, Maude Bain, on this her night.
Well, that's October the 1st, 1930, isn't it?
They called you Maude Bain.
Yeah.
Were you like a mother to them?
Well, I guess I was, because half of them, when their wives had their babies, I went and looked after them. I guess I earned it. And this is that's a cub camp I was at.
So you looked after cubs as well?
Oh, I had wonderful times. At camp, I had the boys. I liked the boys the best, always. Well, the girls were nice, but they always want to go shampoo their hair, or do this or do that, and you had to watch them all the time.
I know.
And one little fellow said he was standing in the kitchen door one morning, and I said, "Well, you're up early, the bell didn't ring yet." And he said, "No," he said, "but Ma, could I come in and just sit by you?" I said, "Oh, all right, come on in." So he come in, he sat down, and I said, "Are you, you want to go home, don't you?" "I want to go home, but my mother told me not to dare." So he said, "What am I going to do?" Well, I said, let me see now what you can do. I said, "You go there and put the spoons and knives all around the tables in the dining room. And when you get that done," I said, "I'll find something else." So, boy, he hustled around. Believe me, he worked hard. But he was a cute little fella. And
I took his mind off being homesick, I guess.
Yeah. I said, "Now, would you like to go home?" "No," he said, "I don't think, but I'll wait till supper time." And his father worked at the plant, and his father always came home at supper time. And after supper, they used to go down, you know, that wharf over there, Ollie, fish and smelts. And this is what was, he didn't mind anything else. This was when it comes supper time.
Mm-hmm. So you used a lot of psychology that nowadays they get out of books, but you already knew it.
Well, I had such a family myself. You know, I had two boys, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I just used them as if they were my own.
Well, thank you very much for
You're
sharing your
welcome,
memories with us.
sure.
Today we've heard the memories of Alice Maude Bain. My thanks go to her and to her daughter, Mrs. Olive Skinner, who was kind enough to bring her mother to our Sydney studios. Do join us at this time next week for more souvenirs. I'm Daphne Mackay, and I hope that all your memories will always be happy ones.